Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. I hope we are all good and
This call is now being recorded.
blessed
This
to be
call is
here
now taking
tonight,
note.
converging in Mental Health Tuesday, whereby we are discussing issues pertaining mental welfare, and we are glad that we've been meeting here for a good time, talking about sessions that we've been handling here. And today we are in our 185 session, remembering that we've been having these sessions for quite some time. And for those who are joining us today, remember this is under the courtesy of Samba Sport Youth Agenda. An organization that is basically talking and undertaking care the issues of mental health. And today we have our guest speaker who is going to take us through on how best we can rekindle the emotional attachment in a relationship. And I'll be your moderator. Feel welcome, feel honored. It's a safe space whereby everyone has a concern, everyone has a room to give a thought, an idea, or share a story that can rekindle someone light towards attachment in terms of emotional in a relationship. Remember, everyone is welcome, every thought is welcome. Karibu sana mzungumzaji wetu wa leo ambaye ni Madam Lilian. Karibu sana, labda uweze kujitambulisha kwa manufaa ya wale ambao tuko nao hii siku ya leo. Tuambie labda wewe ni nani na labda unajihusisha na vitu gani. Karibu sana Madam Lilian.
Mahmud,
Mahmud, asante sana kwa kunikaribisha na asante sana Mr. Mwachausa na Samba Sports team for the warm welcome that I've received from all of you. For everyone who is joined in the call, welcome. My name is Lilian Madoni. I am a psychological counselor by profession, and I am very passionate about mental health because mental well-being is total well-being. And so today I'm excited and I'm happy. Natarajia sana tutakuwa na interactive session where we will be able to not only understand how to rekindle emotional attachment, lakini pia tutaelewa what is emotional attachment in our relationship. So everyone, you're highly welcome. Thank you, Mahmoud.
Thank you so much, Madam Lilian, for that vast introduction. And remember, today we are talking about emotional attachment, how we are going to rekindle that emotional attachment. But before I tap back to Madam Lilian, you as our audience today, our listener today, what is your emotional feeling right now? You can just use any emoji that is on your screen to express what you are feeling right now. What is your emotional feeling right now? Or maybe you can just tell us in the call chat using any color code, be it red, black, white. You are free to say that. Yeah, I see people are showing what they are. How is your just up and tell us. I see Martin Masimba, Florence Fikiri is showing showing us the emotion. Alice Kinyua, that's amazing. Uh, Cephas is worried. Jumatatu is okay. That shows that we all have these emotions and we have a feeling towards whatever we are going through. Don't worry, you are in the safe space. And today we have Lillian, who is going to take us through on how best we are going to rekindle the feeling that we have tonight. Madam Lillian, when you think of emotional connection, what comes to your mind?
Um,
um,
thank,
thank,
thank you,
thank
Mahmoud.
you, Mahmoud.
When I think of
When I think
emotional
of emotional
connection,
connection,
what comes to my mind is beyond when you meet someone, when you're with someone, you're with them physically, but then again, you're able to connect your emotions with someone. Now, when I think about emotional connection, it's just the ability to be able to connect with someone at an emotional level. Like if they're sad, you're able to share in the sadness. If they're happy, you're able to share in the happiness. If they're distant, you're able to realize they're distant. If they're close, you're able to realize they're close. But all this emotionally. So picking up on that question, um, when it comes to relationships, It's important to understand there's a difference with being in a relationship and also feeling emotionally connected. You can be in a relationship, but you're not emotionally connected. During this session, I'm going to allow us to ponder on a lot of questions. I will request for us to be able to be willing to think a lot on some of the questions that we're going to share. So, like, I can begin. If you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally connected do you feel in your current relationship or in your past relationship? Yeah, it's very important as we begin for you to just start thinking along those lines. How can you rate your emotional connectedness? Now, when we hear about emotional attachment, yeah, I know we live in a generation where we communicate with emojis, and it's very easy. Like now, Muhammad ametuliza, how do you feel? And we just do an emoji and we just put a thumbs up. But I believe when it comes to the reality of a relationship, it goes beyond an emoji. So some of the questions that it's important to in a relationship at every time to ask, are we connected or are we entertaining each other? Are we emotionally available or am I afraid to be alone? And then sometimes, do I expect my partner to read my mind? When I feel misunderstood, do I withdraw? And so those are some of the questions that are very important for us to think about. Why am I giving us questions? Is because attachment at its core, yeah, it's important to understand that attachment at its core normally will ask three questions. You ask, are you there for me? Can I rely on you? And am I safe with you? If you can answer those three core questions in your relationship, then you can gauge your level of attachment to someone. And when the answer is yes, that I can rely on you, I feel safe with you, and you're there for me, then we all feel secure. But when the answer is no or you're uncertain, then attachment anxiety will arise. Attachment anxiety normally is very strong during conflict, when you're stressed, you're sick, when you have a threat of separation. Umeona mtu wako amelike photo za, za mwingine sana, for example in this social media area, amelike sana zile photos, kila photo like, hiyo ni threat ya separation. So you you become uncertain, am I safe, can I rely here, and that way your attachment anxiety it starts rising. Now, when we begin with the word attachment, sometimes it feels like a big word, but it's important for us to understand that we form our attachment patterns from childhood. We don't just wake up and develop attachment. It begins between 0 to 2 years. That's how we form our attachment patterns. And before we understand how to rekindle emotional attachment, let's understand what is emotional attachment, anyways. So, emotional attachment is explained that it's the way we form strong emotional bonds, which are crucial for survival. We form these bonds from 0 to 2 years because we want to survive. How do we form these bonds? Depending with our caregivers at that time. By caregivers, I mean your parents, the people that you live with, the people who raised you up. Yeah, they're the ones who help us to form attachment patterns. And as we grow up into adulthood, we always operate from the attachment pattern that we learned grow between 0 and 2 years. So we have if we have a consistent and responsive caregivers, then we develop secure attachment. Consistent and responsive, I mean, for a kid 0 to 2 years, mtoto anahitaji kukula, anahitaji kuvaa, anahitaji kuogeshwa, anahitaji kuwa na mtu wa kumlinda. That way you're helping that child to develop a secure attachment. Now, if we have inconsistent care, leo mtoto yuko amekula, hakukula, aliangaliwa, hakuangaliwa, then we develop an anxious attachment pattern because we are never sure, hatuko sure kama kuna mtu mwenye ataniangalia. Then we have an emotionally unavailable care. We have care that is, we normally call it financial, let's say financial care. Somebody provides the money, but they're never there. unfortunately, sometimes in our current generation, normally we allow the house managers, wale wasichana wa pale nyumbani ndio wanalea watoto. So you could be a parent, you're physically there but emotionally you're unavailable. Why? Because you are maybe busy, you're working. That child will develop an avoidant attachment. And then also frightening or chaotic care. In situations where we have a lot of violence at home, or even in situations like where there's, for example, war in a country, and kids have to keep moving left, right. That is frightening and chaotic, and then they develop a disorganized attachment. I'm just going to run through so that we really understand what attachment is, and then we can also understand one another, and then we can now be able to know how to rekindle when the attachment is lost. So, like I said, number one, we have the secure attachment. That is the ideal. That's where we all of us would want to be. When we can express ourselves openly. When there's a conflict, we are willing to discuss and repair the conflict. We are very consistent with our emotions. We are very comfortable with being intimate. And then we can also trust that our partners are available for us. So when you have secure attachment, it does not mean you will never feel insecure. You will feel insecure, but you're able to communicate the insecurity. The core belief in secure attachment is whereby you are sure you know I am worthy of love and others are reliable. So it's important to start when we start discussing these attachment patterns, tafadhali jiangalie na usiangalie sana mwenzako. This is a very personal session. I know it is easy to point fingers on your partner, lakini it's important to, as you're listening, to just find out where am I in all these attachment patterns. Then number two, tuko na the anxious attachment. If you come from where I come from, kama unatoka Western, hapa ndio tunasema ulikula roho ya kuku, meaning you're always worried, yeah. Yeah, that is that is an anxious attachment, meaning you're the pursuer. It means you had inconsistent care. So what does it look like? Somebody who has an anxious attachment, they are overthinkers. They overthink. Overthinking in our modern world inakuwa expressed na overtexting. You know that person who can text for 24 hours and you're just wondering, una type aje? Okay. And then they need constant reassurance. You have to tell them, I love you like 7 times in a day. Yeah. But mainly it's just because they're seeking safety. And then they feel panic when communication drops, they're panicking. Haukuniongelesha asubuhi, hukuniongelesha usiku. And then they're very quick to say unanilenga or you're ignoring me. Allow me to laugh when I'm talking about this because I'm also seeing myself in this pattern. Yeah. So when their core fear, if you have an anxious attachment, your core fear is, what if I'm not enough? They always feel they're not enough, they're never enough, and they're always worried that they will be replaced with watawachwa. Yeah, most of the time they feel the silence is rejection. Yeah, and when the communication reduces, they keep moving forward. When you keep quiet is when they keep pursuing you. That is someone with an anxious attachment pattern. Then we have the third one, an avoidant attachment pattern. These ones are withdrawals. These ones, they had emotionally unavailable care. It can also happen, especially with most of the time for children who are maybe firstborn in a large family and they have to take care of so many other children. So they don't have, nobody takes care of them. So emotionally unavailable care, they withdraw, they pull away during a conflict. They are very uncomfortable with depending on anyone for emotional dependence. They don't like being vulnerable. The people who don't appreciate when you have to keep telling them, I love you, I'm here for you, you can count on me. They're like, so what? But they feel overwhelmed with emotional intensity. If they want to say, I love you, they can just send you one. Let me show you what they can send you. They can send you that one heart. Yeah. But if their partner is the anxious one, they will send 70 hearts. Do you understand? And so you find that our conflicts mainly are just in our anxious, in our attachment pattern. Then we have they minimize emotional needs. With someone who is a withdrawer, most of the time they don't understand why are you feeling. They minimize emotional needs. Okay, and then they believe they must rely on themselves. For most people with avoidant attachment, they just believe I must depend on myself. And then when conflict happens, most of the time, them they need space. But for the anxious one, they need connection. Then we have the fourth one, the avoidant attachment, and that one, this one, they want to love, but again, they don't believe love is safe. So they desire closeness, but they fear closeness. Okay, so they're always in a push and pull dynamic. And most of the time, it is related to a lot of history in relational trauma. Maybe these kids were raised up in a family where they were not, or maybe they were born out of wedlock sometimes, unfortunately. Sometimes they were raised with a step parent. Sometimes they were raised with relatives. And so they have never been able to, love was never communicated like whole. It was always a push and pull. It was always a give and take. And so most of the time, they are fearful and avoidant at the same time. Now, once we understand these different types of emotional attachment patterns, then we're able to understand ourselves and understand our partners. Why? It does not mean that there's a weakness in the personality. It just means that this is a survival tactic that we developed early in life. Okay. So it's not that attachment is it's stable, but it's not fixed. As we learn, as we understand, then we are able to change the dynamics of what we went through. And then now coming back to now rekindling the emotional attachment. We all know how relationships begin. They begin fireworks. Yeah, and you're all happy and you're all excited and you're all talking and you're all texting and you're all sending photos, emojis, and everything. You're meeting up, you're somebody fills up your whole day or your entire life. And then slowly by slowly, it used to be good morning, let's say it, good morning, honey pie. Then it comes down to good morning, bae. Then now it comes down to morning. Then it comes down to VP. Inateremka inafika woza. Inafika oya. Yeah, nowadays najua hata watu wanaitana bro vipi. Inateremka kabisa inakuwa uliamka. Hmm? Inafika umeenda. Yeah, it just becomes single word. Okay. So how do we rekindle that emotional attachment? Yeah, because emotional attachment does not die suddenly. No, it fades. It fades pole pole through neglect, and so it means it can be restored by intentional care. I have a friend of mine who is very intentional, and I'm learning a lot of about being intentional through her. And I think it's very important to also know that with rekindling emotional attachment, we have to be intentional and go through the process slowly by slowly rebuilding it again. So we don't just wake up one day and then we are back to sweetie honey pie. No, we have to come back and rebuild it again. How do we begin? First, we begin by creating emotional safety. Emotional safety, what do I mean by emotional safety? It means that we create an environment where we can express ourselves feeling without being mocked. Yeah. Emotional safety is about not punishing someone with silence. You don't ghost. You're not. You're not very busy for me, and then I see you all over social media. You're not punishing someone with your silence, and then now you go and post. I know we live in a generation where we post on the status, we post on our Facebook or our social media handles, and we are communicating to someone, and we use that, and that destroys our emotional safety. So it's very important to be able to create a safe environment where people don't feel judged or dismissed. Okay, so that you're able to, I am here for you. Can I listen? If someone tells you, I feel nowadays you're distant, I feel this relationship in a kosalaba. Okay, you shouldn't just say, anyway, it is you thing to know. It's important to go back. What am I doing that is causing my partner to feel they're not emotionally safe. And then we also, number two, need to understand how our ego protects self. Okay. When you feel hurt, most of the time we protect ourselves. Our mind protects itself from further hurt, and it will manifest in in different types. They're called ego defense mechanisms. And so most of the common ego defenses we have, like withdrawal. Somebody says, like, I don't care. Yeah, that's a form of withdrawal. I don't care. Whether you want to talk or not, shauri yako. But deeply they're hurting. Deep down they're hurting. Then there is also blame shifting. Blame shifting is you're too sensitive. Wewe unapenda kufuata mambo madogo sana. Hata hii ni kitu ya kufuatilia, uko na utoto sana. Instead of acknowledging, oh, what is my partner saying? So rekindling that emotional attachment is, instead of blame shifting, understand, acknowledge the impact. And then another thing that affects our emotional attachment is pride. Unasema mi siwezi apologize, mi siwezi sema sorry mpaka yeye mwenyewe akuje. Sitaonyesha unyonge, mi si mnyonge, sitakuwa mnyonge wake. But that one now, that way, when you do that, you're widening the emotional gap. But if you know you're wrong, it's important to apologize. I think another session we will talk about how to apologize, an apology that will speak and create difference. Then we also have the pursue withdraw cycle. What does that mean? One person is seeking reassurance, and the other person feels overwhelmed, and then they withdraw. So you're on a continuous chase. While I am feeling overwhelmed, I withdraw, and my partner, then when they're seeking reassurance. So you keep moving, pulling back and forth. Now the problem is not with the one pursuing or the one that is seeking reassurance. The problem is just with the cycle that we are creating. When we are creating a circle where someone is push and pull, that way we are going to keep going in a loop. And the best way is to just stop blaming one another and to sit back and understand the dynamic. Once you understand, my partner has maybe anxiety attachment, anxious attachment, so they will tend to seek reassurance. And my partner, no, my partner is avoidant. Then they tend to withdraw. So we have to strike a balance and just understand, okay, well, when I'm withdrawing, it doesn't mean I'm leaving you. I'm just feeling overwhelmed. I need to step back a bit, like that. And then the other one, when I'm pursuing, it doesn't mean I'm being desperate. I'm just seeking reassurance. And then you come up and discuss it. And then you agree. Because mapenzi yanaran dunia, mapenzi raha. But most of the time, when we don't understand dynamics, we tend to tunaharibu kitu kizuri sana. And then we also have emotional neglect versus intentional harm. Okay. Now, emotional neglect, this is where you're always busy. You're busy 24/7. Then the other, your partner also develops assumptions that you're busy. It means you're busy and now you're hurting them. That is now intentional harm. And all this is going through your mind. And that is why today is Mental Health Tuesday. Nobody will see what is going through your mind. Okay. There's a lot of emotional unavailability. That one causes a lot of emotional neglect, taking each other for granted. Yeah, like just knowing, huyu atakuwa. I know kawaida mtaani tunasemanga ule dem nishamkunywa. Ule dem hawezi enda pali pengine. Even us ladies utasikia a woman atasema, ule jamaa nishamweka mfukoni. Yule hawezi toka. But those are not very healthy statements for a healthy relationship. Yeah, it's not important. It's not good for you to take someone for granted. Sometimes it's good to also ask yourself, what will happen if I lost them? What will happen if I lose this relationship? And step out of our pride and just start rekindling the emotional attachment. And then a very important fact that I want us to go through is repair is more important than perfection. Healthy couples are not those who avoid conflict, but they're those who repair quickly. Okay. So the strength of a relationship is not measured at if we don't fight, but it is measured with how quickly we reconnect. We will fight, but are we reconnecting? We are not going to avoid conflict because we are human, we are different. But how are we going to repair quickly? Okay. So most of the time when it's important to uh, take care of our tone, take care of our words, most of the time when we are talking, especially in repairing conflicts, we should not shame one another or blame and say, wewe unakuanga hivi, nyinyi mnakuanga hivi. And sometimes even it's bad because we go tribal. Nyinyi wabaluya mnakuanga hivyo. That way you will make your partner to be very defensive. It's important to use language that will be able to bring someone back, yeah, for repair. And then as we're just winding up, I think I still have a minute or so. It's important when it comes to matters of rekindling emotional attachment. We have to take personal responsibility. It will not be for one person only. It is not just your partner, a partner. There is a part you played. There's a role you play in emotional distance. Even if you have a secure attachment pattern, there's a part that you play in emotional distance. And maybe that is where we need to shift um, from destroying to rebuilding. We need to shift from oh, what my partner amefanya hivi into what am I also doing that maybe imemfanya akafanya hivi. It is important to take personal responsibility for us to be able to rekindle emotional attachment because we cannot run away from love. We cannot run away from emotional connections. We are human beings, we are emotional beings. We relate emotionally in any level of our lives, at home, at work, in our religious setups, anywhere, hata kama uko kwa barabarani unasafiri, we relate emotionally. So it's important to understand we have different attachment patterns, but at the same time, we can come and with our differences, be able to work together and build a healthy relationship. Now, when it comes to emotional attachment, I am not only emphasizing on emotional romance. For emotional connection to happen, we need to emphasize emotional safety, not emotional romance. Yeah. Most of the time, we think when we get very romantic that now we are connected. No, it's important to have emotional safety. Now, Um, these are some of the very important questions that it's good for you to keep checking through. What made me feel emotionally safe at the beginning? Yeah, if you're in a relationship, what made me at the beginning? What is it that made me feel safe? Okay, and then in terms of taking personal responsibility, when is the last time you intentionally checked on your partner, how they are emotionally? Not just the kawaida, how was your day? No, just intentionally checking how is my partner emotionally. Another way for personal responsibility to rekindle our emotional attachment is do you express your appreciation? How recent did you express your appreciation? These things seem very small, but it is these small nuggets that build a lasting relationship. How much do we appreciate one another? Or do we just take things for granted and we just know, hiyo siye mwenyewe anaona, siye mwenyewe atajua tu. Yeah. When did you last apologize sincerely? Like sincerely, not kama nimekukosea unisamee. Sawa basi yaishe, basi pole yaishe. No. When did you sincerely apologize and own up, I am sorry, I made you feel annoyed or I made you feel belittled or I humiliated you. Yeah. And I'm working on this and I hope not to repeat it again. Yeah. When did you last sincerely apologize? And then a very important question is personal responsibility. Are you communicating to understand or are you communicating to win? Yeah. When we are communicating, are you communicating to win? Are you all about winning an argument or you're willing to understand? So emotional attachment is rebuilt through consistency, safety, and intentional effort. It is not a grand gesture. You will not mistreat me and maybe not talk to me for a whole week and then show up at my door with a limousine and expect, oh, abracadabra, emotional connection imerudi. No, emotional attachment is rebuilt small, consistency, intentionally, not just grand gestures, dropping 3 bouquets of flowers in the office. Apana. Yeah. And then most of the time, our relationship conflicts, they're rarely about the surface. Most of the time, it is this our emotional accessibility and our emotional safety. When we feel our safety is threatened, then conflict arises from that. Okay, um, Mahmoud.
Yes, Madam Lilian, that is so much awesome. I was really thrilled and was very happy. I think even the audience here they can show up using emojis how it was really awesome on whatever you were presenting. I want to dangle something here because I heard you've been tapping about issues of love. So I want to dangle
Mm,
the carrot of love with you. What
yeah.
love looked like in your home growing up?
Mm. What did love look like in my home growing up? Yeah, there isn't. That's a very important question, not just for me, but for all of us. What did love look like in your homes? Maybe we'd have a few answers in the messages, because it is how we our first relationship was at home. Home is the first place where we learned love. But how did love look like? Was it love that was making us anxious? Was it love that was there and not there? Was it love that is there when you do good, it is there. When you do bad, it is withheld? Was it missing totally? Was it chaotic? Yeah, that's a very important carrot to dangle, because, and that is why we don't dwell so much on emotional attachment, making it emotional romance. You would want to understand, where is my partner coming from? In my home, how did love look like? Yeah. For some people, like for example, if someone was raised, for example, in a children's home, yeah, what is love for them? And so when they grow up into being adults, it would be very easy to blame them, that they like to withdraw and keep it to themselves. But it's not that they're doing it intentionally. No. What did love look like in your home? A very important question. Thank you so much, Mahmoud. Very important for all partners. Yeah.
I see someone here saying being appreciated by those around you
Oh,
is
yes.
something good.
Mm.
Maybe Madam Lilian,
Yeah.
have you ever been physically present with someone but emotionally
Mm.
distant? And what are some of the roles
Mm.
that you have played in the emotional distance?
Mhm. Oh, yes, I have. I have been physically present, but emotionally distant. And I also feel in our audience, um, I don't know if I should say by a show of hands, maybe no. I know. Um, we can be physically present, but emotionally very distant, because we don't feel safe with whoever we are with. And part of the role, like the role that I played in the in creating emotional distance, was just pulling away, yeah, being avoidant and not being uncomfortable with conflict. Nobody wants conflict. We always run away from conflict, but we need to start accepting that conflict is part of our lives, and we need to start working towards it in terms of repairing it. So yes, in my personal life I have been, but I'm glad that I've learned a few things, and what I'm able to share over the years, that it is not as conflict is not as bad as we think. That every time there's conflict, we're not supposed to distance ourselves. The role that we all play individually, yeah, we don't need to distance ourselves in a conflict. Neither do we need to keep pursuing for reassurance. It's also important to start developing our self-worth. I have I have shared that our attachment patterns are, we learn them. They are mirrored when we are between 0 and 2 years, in our formative years, and actually let's extend to around 5, or even probably around 10. Yeah, but at that point, remember, you were a child. You were only going through a process we call social modeling. You were learning by what you were seeing. But remember now, I believe all of us in this forum are above the age of 18. If anyone is below 18, they are not 10 years. I'm sure that we are all above, we are all adults. Meaning, we now have a responsibility to change. It is true, maybe you were raised in an anxious home environment. Maybe you were raised in an environment with inconsistent care, or emotionally unavailable care, or maybe it was frightening, it was chaotic, or it was consistent and it was responsive. But remember, you are a child, and right now you are an adult with the power and the ability to change. So I keep saying, while our formative years, indeed, they formed our lives, but now as grown-ups, we have the responsibility. Remember the personal responsibility to become better, to change. It is in our ability to change. So yes, as you reflect, from all that I've been sharing, I've been asking a lot of questions. It's important to keep reflecting, what is my immediate attachment pattern. Is it working for me? Has it been working for me? No. Sometimes people don't react to people. Sometimes your partner is not reacting to you. They're just reacting to their old fears. Sometimes they're just reacting to their past traumas. It has nothing to do with you at all. And that is why it's very important to understand. Understanding is very important. Try and learn your partner. Try and learn their background. I keep saying when you love someone, please love everything about them in terms of find out about how they were raised. It will give you very good pointers. Okay. I hope I've been able to answer that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well
Mm.
put. Maybe I can throw the same question to my audience because I know,
Yeah.
as you told us earlier, we all have that emotional attachment and we all react different in our
Mm.
own ways because everyone has different personality traits or maybe
Mm.
character and whatever. Maybe my audience, have you ever have that feeling whereby you find yourself being there physically present to your concubine, to your love, to your GF, maybe to your family members, but you feel emotionally distant. Talk to us in the call chat. You can tell us what happened and what feeling have you gone through, and we'll be able also to read it for the sake of others also to get that knowledge. You can also tell us maybe how did you manage to move away from that bucket and to ensure that you are back emotionally and both physically to whoever you are trying to create that attachment to. Talk to us. I know we all have different feelings and automatically we've gone through this. Talk to us in the call chat, and if you wish, you can raise up your hand and we're going to give you a chance to add up. And Lillian, maybe we have what you call prioritization, and it's something that most of the time comes since we are human beings, we always prioritize some stuff. And since we prioritize that, you take that as the first act of whatever you want to do. So, what are some of the small, consistent actions that will make you feel prioritized?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. What are some of the small I love those two words, small and consistent actions. Actually there are three. So they're small, then they are consistent, and then they are actions. So the ones that can be prioritized so that they make you feel when somebody prioritizes you, it means they value you. And one of the most important things that the glue that holds a relationship is when you feel valued. And if you can feel valued, then you can offer value to someone else. Now, what are these small and consistent actions? Like, for example, um, I keep saying the simple the four words that we were taught way back, I think in grade one. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please excuse me. They are very simple words, but they go a very long way. Yeah. Some actions. It's important to find out. Okay, what does my partner love part time? People's needs, people's likes, people's dislikes keep changing because the human being is very dynamic. Yeah, we say that activation anxieties they're easily stimulated during times of stress, illness, threats of separation. The when there is emotional distance, once you understand part time where you are and where your partner is, what are some of those small things that you know they like? Yeah. Well, it could even be food. It could be clothes. It could be just the normal things. They like a particular program. They like reading and they like this kind of literature to read. Yeah. What are those small, consistent actions that make you feel valued and prioritized? Yeah. They just make you feel valued. And are you able to communicate that? Because again, we do not expect your partner to read your mind. No one is a kuna mganga hapa. Mapenzi haina uganga. Yeah. So it's important to be able to communicate also. I like this. I don't like this. Oh, I enjoy this. Even just from the basic things. I love, which colors do you love? Okay. Which colors do you love? Yeah. We ask this question. When is your birthday? What's your shoe size? We are very excited the first month. The first 6 months. Hapo ndio penye tunafurahia sana when we're beginning the relationship. Even the first 2 months. Ama the first 2 weeks. But after that, you don't even know. You don't know anything about your partner. Why? We lose the part of being intentional. They're not intentional to notice, and they are changing. And why have they changed? Maybe they're going through a stressful time at work. Yeah, maybe they have a project to complete. Maybe they're going through an illness. Maybe they're going through conflict at their place, even at home, even with their siblings. Maybe. But we are not intentional. So when you're not intentional, we will not know what actions to do. Then we will sit back and be very selfish na tuseme hata wewe siku hizi unishughulikii. When your partner tells you, no, you're different, on that house ulisonga. Yeah. And when we say that, we are not rebuilding. When we say that, we are just destroying. So the small, consistent actions that we that would make you feel prioritized. Yeah. Things which are very personal to Lillian, for example. Things which are very, very personal to me. Yeah. The things which you tell me, the things which you do for me, and I'll know, oh yes. Oh, thank you so much. I am appreciated. Yeah. And that comes to, and I think maybe I will ask Mahmoud in our next mental health Tuesday or any other time. We need to have a topic on love languages. Which love language do you listen to? Yeah. Love languages are very important to understand in a relationship because we all listen to love and we all understand love in different ways. There are people who understand love through acts of service. When you do something for them, to them that means I love you. The people who like words of reassurance, as long as you tell them nakupenda, that's it for them. Yeah. The people who like gifts, a gift will say, even if you just drop a gift and you don't say anything to them, they know you love me. Yeah. So it's important to understand love language ya mwenzako ni gani. From those love languages, utajua huyu nikimpatia hii ama nikifanya hii, they feel valued. Yeah. I don't know nowadays with all the social media, yeah. Kuwekwa profile, I don't know if kuwekwa profile photo means love or being prioritized. I'm no longer sure about that. Ama kuwekwa status for 30 seconds, I don't know. Yeah. So it's important to just know, like, but remember they are small and they are consistent action. Yeah. Intentional. Okay, Mahmoud. Back to you.
Lillian, maybe I can just crack it and say you might be placed on the DP, the profile picture, or maybe the status, and all other members or contacts are hidden. You are the only person seeing yourself. So,
Exactly.
Mahmoud, are you there? Looks like Mahmoud threw a bad joke and it affected him.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Maybe you can open it to the audience and maybe allow people
Yes.
to say something, give feedback, comment. you may raise up your hand,
Yes.
and we give you an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Anybody? You may ask a question, you may give a comment, you may give feedback. Ungesema umeguswa ama hujaguswa bado, tuendelee as we wait for Mahmoud to come back.
Yes, I'm back. I see Raquel has risen up a hand. Okay, Raquel, talk the stage.
Good evening, everyone. I have a question for Madam Lillian. My question is, how do you respond to a partner who always wants you to apologize first after a conflict? They will never be the first one to apologize, and maybe they are the ones who have offended you. So how do you deal with that situation?
Okay. Thank you, Rachel, for that question. Um, how do you handle someone who never wants to apologize? Number one, you need to understand that they're being very defensive, and most of the time, the thing that makes people not want to apologize is because they feel, number one, they don't even think they're wrong. They don't even see they're wrong. And what happens? It's pride that is blocking them from seeing they're wrong. But when we dig deeper, we just discover maybe they're growing up, they grew up in an environment where admitting to wrongs, and especially maybe in African culture and with the men, admitting to a wrong and admitting that, yes, I'm sorry, is a sign of weakness. And so they just feel, if I admit
Sorry, we have lost our guest. We have lost our guest as we are waiting for her to come back. I see there's also a hand from Christine. Yes, Christine.
Good evening.
Evening.
Okay, my question is it's more of a concern whereby you find partners in a relationship find it difficult in having that attachment because they've got other attachments outside there. It's not that like they're having relationship with other people, no, but the thing is the emotional attachment whereby they can share things, they can laugh, maybe it's a colleague at work. So when that part comes in, you find it so difficult for this person connecting again with the person who is in the house. So my question is it possible to have that connection at work, emotional connection with the colleague, and still have emotional connection with your partner at home? The double emotional connection. That's my question.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
thank you so much, Christine. I
Yeah.
see Lillian. Lillian, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I'm really sorry for that drop. My call dropped. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. I think I came in and I found Christine's question, but I had not finished answering Rachel. I don't know if she was comfortable with what I was saying.
Yeah, you can
So,
finish the first one and then complete with Christian's one.
okay. Rachel was asking if find someone who would never want to accept the part the mistake, and they want you to always be the first one to apologize. Is because one, they don't even think or they don't even feel they were wrong. Number two, if they really know they are wrong, they are afraid of the power imbalance that it will create. They like to be in control. If you look at their personality, they're the cholerics, they're the alphas. They're the ones who like to be on top, to be in control. to be the ones who are always on right. And so when you need them to apologize, what you're doing, you're tipping over the power balance, and they will not accept that. So most of the time, it's first to just understand their type of personality, and sometimes growing up, they were raised to feel growing up, maybe they were raised to feel they are weak or they are nobodies. And now they have grown up and they have found there's something that they can attach to themselves, which makes them feel like somebody. They will rarely want to apologize. So for such people, it's important in in a very, let me use the word sober carefully, in a very sober mood, when you're not shouting or when you're also not agitated with them. It's important to sit them down and explain to them that when they do not apologize, then that is not comfortable for you. You will not also agree na useme tu sawa tu acha amekataa ku apologize. No, it's important to let them know that you don't appreciate that, and you would appreciate if they would also understand the impact their actions or their words they have on you. So that's number one. Remembering you can never change anyone, yeah, but you can always control how you respond to them. For Christine, yes, you can have even multiple connections. What do I mean? You have a different emotional connection with your children, you have a different one with your employer, with your boss, with your colleague, with your partner, with your mother in law, with your wifi. You understand? Depending on the roles that people play in our lives, we develop emotional connections with them at different levels. So it's important to first understand that people have all these attachment patterns. They're not just only focused on love relationship, me and my mutua anaitwa nani, mi na mtu wangu. Hapana, it's not only for husband wife, it's not only for boyfriend girlfriend. Attachment patterns ni they will vary now with our emotional connections in the different connections that we have. Apparently, we might have very good relationships at work because we know we can lose our job. But at home, where we are very sure I will not lose this man or woman, we tend to relax. So emotional connections can be all bound. Mhm. Okay. Any other
Thank
question? I hope I've answered.
Yes, thank you, Lillian. There are some few questions
Mm,
we can go through the culture as also time is not on our side. I see here
yes.
Samuel Kamau say
Mm,
nimeguzwa, and then we have Raquel say Samuel nini
mm,
imekuguza. So Samuel, you need
mm,
to open up and tell us. But Samuel is back here telling that
mm,
this talk is incisive like a surgeon's blade. I just discovered I'm withdrawing type of attachment. I don't know how I developed into it through that. Any
mm.
attachment type is not a defect, but
Right.
survival tactic. Thank you for the facilitators for such a valuable insight. Karibu sana, brother Samuel, and
Mm,
thank you, Raquel, for enticing Samuel to open up. And then we have Alex Mwangi saying, "My heartfelt greeting goes out to all of you. I wish to express my deepest gratitude for the enlightening insights you have provided, which have significantly broadened my understanding. Your contribution to this discussion are nothing short of profound, and I truly appreciate the depth of knowledge being shared. May God bless each and every one of you abundantly for your wisdom and generosity in sharing it." Thank you so much, Alex. And we say, may also God bless you and make sure that you will always be with us in all the sessions that we are having. There's a question here for you, Madam Lillian from Bimeri, saying, "My question is,
mm,
how do you respond to someone I thought he meant someone who cheats on you
mm.
several times but still asking for forgiveness." We
Okay.
Moses Motela amesema imenigusa sana pia. Swali hilo na
Mm.
Motela nakwambia imenigusa. Sasa sijui ni swali limemgusa ama ni session. Back to you, Lilian.
Basi atatuambia, atatuelezea. Okay. Thank you so much, Samuel. Yeah, it's true. What you're saying is very true that attachment type is not a defect, it's not a weakness, it's not a flaw. It is just a survival tactic. Yeah. Bemeri, what do you do when someone cheats on you several times and you still ask for forgiveness? Number one, um, you have, and I want you to let me say this from a point of with a lot of care. When you talked about personal responsibility, when someone cheats on you and they keep cheating on you and they keep asking for forgiveness, you have also let your guard down. You have shown them that yes, you can cheat on me and still come back. You have also pulled down your boundary. You have given them the yani wanajua hapa nitafanya na nitarudi nitakubaliwa. So the most important question for me now would not be so much the person who is cheating on you. And I'm not only referring to you, the Mary, and this goes to all of us. It's not so much the person that is cheating, but it is so much you that is allowing it over and over again. If for you cheating is a no, then it needs to stop at that. If they do it the first time, then you really need to consider, am I going to stay in a relationship where they will be cheating on me over and over again in the hope of changing, or I will not? So that one, I'd like first to take it back to you and to everyone else, that we have to develop boundaries. We have to develop what we can allow, our bare minimum, what we can take in and what we cannot take in. That is very important for our own mental well-being. Yeah, so that we cannot keep in this back and forth dynamic where they go, they cheat, they come ask for forgiveness, and then they go again and they come back and ask for forgiveness, and we are still there waiting for them with our hands and our towels to cover them. So what you would do, it's more of you, not so much that person. Like I keep saying, we only have control over ourselves. We have no control over the other person. It is on you. What do you want? Do you want a relationship where someone keeps going out and in? If you're comfortable with that, then communicate that, then accept that, then live with that. If you're not comfortable with that, again, communicate the same. I'm not comfortable with this dynamic. I will not be in a relationship where you have to keep going in and out. It's very important for communication, because the more they keep going in and out, they take a part of you every time, every now and then. Utafika mahali utasema mapenzi yakae, mapenzi hayana maana, and it's not true. Yeah. So for that question, I hope I've been able to give you like that would be the response that would be more practical. Yeah.
That was a quite a response, Lillian. Actually,
Yeah.
I've been so observant, and for the first time, when you are responding to that question, I saw Samantha reacting on the same. It was the very first time seeing her reacting. So that means tunapigwa matukio huku nje, we have been heartbroken, and in today's sessions we've learned a lot. Maybe if you're going to give us your closing remarks regarding what we've been discussing today.
Mhm. Okay. My closing remarks would be just maybe in 1 minute, um, that relationships, we are creatures of relationships. We cannot exist outside relationships, and by that I mean basically that relationships. Okay, we cannot also continue like existing in a relationship like we are a stone, or we are not vacuum. We are a vacuum, apana. It just means that we can work together, understand our different attachment patterns, understand our different love languages, and then move step by step intentionally to work the relationship. We don't say something once and leave it like that. We have to be very intentional every day to work and build healthy relationships, because our relationships determine our quality of life. We cannot lie and say, I don't care, I don't feel for anyone or anything. I'm self-contained. Mi niko sawa peke yangu. No, the quality of our relationships affects the quality of our lives. So it's important to work on our relationships. Another thing also I would like to emphasize is that distance again does not always mean love is gone. Distance, physical distance, emotional distance doesn't necessarily mean love is gone. Sometimes it just means somebody needs some space, and it's important for us to just take a step back towards each other and keep sharing the things that we loved sharing, the things that we loved doing together, the places that we loved going together, the jokes that we loved sharing together. We live in a culture where we are so drawn into ourselves because we have Google Maps, Google what, we have Chat GPT, We can stay with our phones and be quiet by ourselves and entertain ourselves, but we are relational beings. And so it's important for us to build relationships with people around us, to build relations, build your relations, be intentional with your relations. Then, as a person, start working towards secure attachment. Start working despite your the upbringing. Start working towards having a secure attachment pattern where you believe I'm worthy of love and others are reliable, so that you're not anxious, you're not avoidant, you're not fearful. So we begin working towards secure attachment. Okay, so we can build strong relationships with ourselves and then with others. And maybe the last one thing is choose yourself always. Choose yourself. Choose yourself first, then you can now choose somebody else. Don't bring somebody into your space when your space is so crowded. Don't choose someone to come to solve your issues. Don't choose someone you're needing love. So you choose someone so that they come and love and praise you. They come and lift you up. No, very important to choose yourself, love yourself, lift yourself up, strengthen yourself. So when you let someone into your space, you're able to give out that. Yeah. And the last one in 30 seconds, I want you to imagine in your mind a cup. Unaona zile vikombe zinaitwa za wazungu za kunywa chai, the cup and saucer, okay? Let's imagine a cup and saucer figuratively. And then pour water in the cup. When you pour water until it's now overflowing to the saucer, I want us to just let's go together. Let the water now flow up to the saucer. Now, every time you are bringing people into your life to love them, don't give them the water in your cup. Remain with your cup full. Always give out from the saucer, so that you always have something. Don't give out from your cup; it will run dry. Give from the saucer. Always fill yourself with self-worth, build your self-esteem, be very positive, so that your cup is always full. And then when you have to give someone, you're just giving them from the saucer. The same unampatia kasosa. I'm just saying you're giving the same thing, but now from the saucer, so that you always have something and not live in a lot of anxiety of wondering, am I enough? Will they choose me? Will they leave me? Thank you. I think I've done that. Um,
That is so moving of you, Madam Lillian, and that is amazing. And I say that that was very powerful and superb. And as you see the reaction that are coming on the screen from the audience, it already shows that they have learned a lot. You have touched them. They have felt the discussions of today, and they have been sending gratification of thank you to you. And we say to our audience who've been here tonight, we say we are very glad to have you tonight. And this is Mental Health Tuesday that takes place every Tuesday starting from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. under the courtesy of Samba Sport Youth Trust. And we always say, be here when you need us, and we will be there to help each other because mental health matters to all of us. I say, I've been your moderator since then up to now. Thank you and have a lovely night. Take care of yourself. We love you and you are very special. Until we meet again next Tuesday, I'm your moderator, Mahmoud Ali. Thank you.